What's going on, Bustas? Sorry, I look a little razzled. Just got done working out. But I wanted to hop on here real quick. Had a conversation with one of our shifters this morning, somebody who's just getting ready to finish up their last week of the shift 8-week program that we have been conducting. And I thought it was vital to share something. And so I'm not going to divulge a lot of information, but really kind of helping on the sense of identifying the importance and what we really feel is true as to what separates this program from anything else that's out there. And so, because oftentimes from my experience, I've been doing this few years, almost 20, just to kind of put that out there. But I mean, just on a few years. And I know, I've tried to keep in the lines of what we do, but also, the things that I've been exposed to from a lot of different coaches and a lot of different platforms is usually when things come through, when it comes to, especially on a dietary standpoint, is here's your macro program, here's your, keto program, here's the Whole30 model, here's the zone, whatever it may be. Follow this and then essentially go away. And so I want to share something. And so I've been working with one of our shifters. Like I said, she's just finishing up the program. And, when she first started this program, she was, I think, in a very similar boat that a lot of you guys tend to be in. And from what I hear a lot, oftentimes those conversations is, I'm searching for something just to work, right? Like nothing works for me. Everything I've tried, everything that I do, I just can't see the change that I want. And so, when we first started out on this process, we had a conversation with her. We had a one-on-one meeting and kind of got a better idea as far as what it is that she wants, what her history is, what is the things that have basically held her back. Why is she doing the program? What are the things that she ultimately wants? And, kind of going into, I'm not going to get into the specifics of everything, but, she was somebody that had been dealing with other health factors that had been causing immense amount of pain. She was literally on the process of potentially doing procedures to essentially limit dietary factors. And so, she was basically on the realm of like, I don't know if this is going to work or not because nothing else has ever worked for me. But, I'm willing to give it a shot. And over the course of the last, that we're in week 8, but essentially over the course of the last 7 weeks is, for somebody who hadn't been able to see any sort of change, who was basically on the realm of taking very drastic measures, she's down 20 pounds. And, I can speak. I have family. I have my dad who's dealing with autoimmune issues and everything else and deals with an immense amount of pain. And, coming from her is the same thing of she's dealing with a lot of flare-ups, a lot of these things. And since experiencing these things and going through, the decrease in inflammation, the decrease in body weight, the decrease in extra ability to work out and exercise without so much pain and discomfort, her flare-ups aren't nearly as bad. But she came back in the group today and was having issues with essentially wanting to make alterations to essentially the plan that she's been doing. And so from my experience, and the reason why my experience not only in a coaching realm, but I've done this numerous times in athlete as just a human being, is oftentimes unknowingly when things are going a certain way, and we're not used to certain things going certain ways, I myself, in my history, have thrown wrenches in my own system unknowingly. And so the thing that happened in this is, she essentially had things come up over last week. She had things come up over the weekend, and she felt essentially disempowered. All right. And so if you've watched the especially day number 2 of the 3-day workshop and looking at our human needs. And so she started doing, the process has been working really, really well, has worked way better than she ever would have thought in a million years. And she's experiencing things that that she thought would never even come down for her. But because she experienced essentially things that were where she felt out of control last week, she went searching for ways to grasp control. And so what we found and through the conversation is she wasn't having an issue with the program on a dietary component, but what she was doing was essentially having external uncertainty in her life, and ways for her to feel certain was to essentially change her diet. And unknowingly, in the factors in which she wanted to change them, was actually going to potentially work against her and actually cause her to go the other direction from the benefits she's been able to experience. And so the reason why I'm sharing this is because without knowing that, and I would imagine for some of you guys out there that may be hearing this, is you may have experienced this before, right? Like you're experiencing the change, you're experiencing the things in which you want. But somewhere along the way, you decide to throw a kind of a rift into the system. You decide to maybe change things up. You decide to follow somebody else's information. You decide to all of a sudden almost create a problem. Because the reason why I say that is because I did that for a long time. Is when things were going smooth and I didn't know how to do that, because my story forever was, well, it has to be hard. It's got to be a challenge. It's got to be, this big obstacle to overcome. And obstacles are going to be there, but they're inevitable. But what I would do in my own life is I would create problems because I didn't believe the process could be simple. I didn't believe what I was doing was going to elicit the response that I was looking for. And it really did take a coach and a mentor of basically saying, hey, fall in love with the process and fall in love with the boring stuff. Because unfortunately, oftentimes what I was doing when I would create a problem is because I felt unworthy. I felt that I wasn't, I didn't know. I honestly did not know that life essentially could be simple. I'm not going to say it's easy, but I'm going to say I didn't understand that life could be simple and the process could be simple. I didn't understand at that time that doing the simple things of reaching out, making connections, shaking hands with somebody, meeting my clients better than anyone that I could imagine could ever meet them and serve them was going to be good enough for me to see the growth and the progress that I wanted to see. But before I had that conversation, I would throw obstacles in my way. I would create problems. I would do things. I would seek out what other people were doing because I didn't believe that the process and the road that I was on was going to yield the result. Even though if I looked, just a simple glance in the rearview mirror, I could see that, oh, wow, 5 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, I never thought the things that I've accomplished in the last 7 weeks were even fathomable, let alone if I've been going on this process and for the last, 5, 10, 15 years, I haven't been able to lose weight or I've been in an immense amount of pain or whatever. But the last 7 weeks, I'm down 20 pounds. I'm doing things better than I ever thought I'd be able to do in my life, right? But we do that. And so the reason why I want to share this, you guys, is being able to really help of understand that what we do inside the Shift program is honestly very simple. Like if I broke it down and if you watch the 3-day, really we break it down and that's kind of what we go through in this process. But really what we really try to do as coaches and why this is a coached program is help you essentially get out of your own way. Right? Like that's really what a coach does is really, I'm a big believer is I don't bring about things that you don't necessarily know. It's just, I help you identify them by asking you a question and see that the things you are doing is not because you're a bad person. You don't have the right ideology. You don't have these things. It's more on the side of like, you just have bad patterns. You just have habits that haven't been, ingrained yet. You have needs that you're trying to make most of the time from an unconscious place. And usually when we're doing things from an unconscious place and we're trying to meet our needs and we don't necessarily understand them, really that could lead us down a path that could be working against us. Right. And so that was all our conversation consisted of today, is really like, you've been on the right path. And for so many of you guys, and what we see, if I speak to this in 20 years of coaching, is so many of y'all, and myself included, don't know what trust feels like. We don't know what trust feels like, and we don't know what faith feels like. Because, trust me, like I said, I didn't know that, like, when somebody told me it can be simple, I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? It can't be simple. It's got to be complex. It's got to be this overwhelming task that you got to do. And it doesn't have to be. And at the same time from that is you guys is understanding that the problems that we oftentimes create for ourselves are really just our needs and ways that we're trying to meet our needs. And if without having somebody else just simply there like, hey, you're all good. you're on the right path. You're on the right task. Just allow yourself to just put one foot in front of the other. Allow yourself to just trust that the actions that you're taking is going to lead you to the promised land that you want to create in your life. It really is that simple. But without knowing that and just like, hey, here's the program, you know what, go follow this. And you know what, 6 weeks later, when all of a sudden you go back to your old patterns and you go back to the old program, you get to be left with the story of, you know what, it's something that's wrong with you, not necessarily there's something wrong with the program. That's why most programs don't work. And that's why diet culture doesn't work, is because it restricts your biology and it goes against your psychology. And that's why when we're working with when we do this shift, you guys, is it doesn't have to be monumental. The shifts can be monumental, but it doesn't have to be. Little shifts add up to big change. And at the end of the day, when you can understand and identify and create an understanding and a relationship with yourself, it doesn't matter what phase of life, it doesn't matter what obstacle comes in your way, you get to be the creator. You get to be the dictator. You get to be the artist, the architect, whatever you want to say. You get to be that person for yourself. And understand that when you are on the path to the things that you want and you start to see things that are coming up and you start to throw a log in your way and you start to almost self-sabotage, you get to identify these things and you get to come from an educated, conscious level and not just the person that here's my story again. So I wanted to share that. I think that was a big breakthrough that we had this morning of understanding that you're not a bad person. You're just trying to meet your needs, right? Like, trust me, when you feel out of control, what do we try to do? We try to control the things that we know how. And usually the easiest way to do that is by gravitating towards the things that we eat or what we do on as far as an exercise regime or whatever else we do. But it's understanding, like, oftentimes when we're trying to grasp a hold of control, we can also throw ourselves off the plan in which we're doing and off the route that we're doing. And sometimes having a coach be there just to ask you a simple question can be the biggest change and biggest aha for you. So wanted to share that. That's why this program, you guys, we believe 1,000,000% in it. And that's why the people that are sharing their stories are seeing such change in their life, not only when it comes to their waistline. I mean, shoot, this is a woman that literally was on the process of feeling like she needed to take like almost the most drastic measure in order for her to experience physical change. And she's down 20 pounds in 7 weeks. Like, that's crazy. That's awesome. That's amazing. But more importantly, like, she's down pain. She's down discomfort. She feels more energized. She feels more vibrant. She feels better relationship with her family, with all these other things she's able to contribute to. And there's nothing wrong with these things. It's just being able to have a coach that's in your corner and in there and understanding that I'm not here to essentially push you along this journey. We're here to help guide you. So yeah, I just wanted to share that, you guys. If you got thoughts, you got your own things that's going on, let us know. Appreciate your guys' time. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. And yeah, catch you later.